Starting your 7:02 day.
Now, shortly after the attack on Pearl Harbor, the American President Franklin D. Roosevelt issued an executive order authorizing the Secretary of War to designate military zones within the U.S. from which, I quote, any or all persons may be excluded, end quote. Now, the order was not targeted at a specific group, but it became the basis for the mass relocation and internment of over 100,000 Americans of Japanese ancestry, including citizens and non-citizens of the United States. On short notice, thousands were forced to close businesses, to abandon farms and homes, and move into these remote internment camps, also called relocation centers. It only was until January 1944 when the Supreme Court halted the detention of U.S. citizens without cause, and this exclusion order was rescinded, and these Japanese Americans began to leave the camps, most of them, of course, trying to return to their homes to rebuild their former lives. The last camp closed in 1946, and by the end of the 20th century, the U.S. government had paid over $1.6 billion in reparations to detainees and their descendants. Now, this Sunday, it wasn't without irony that former First Lady Laura Bush wrote that on a day set aside to honor fathers and the bonds of family, millions around the world watched images of children who've been torn apart from their parents. See, in the 6 weeks between April 19th and the 31st of May, in America, the Department of Homeland Security has sent nearly 2,000 children to mass detention centers or foster care. More than 100 of these children were younger than 4 years old. What's the reason for these separations? A zero-tolerance policy for their parents who are accused of illegally crossing American borders. It just boggles the mind that after all the books, after all the movies about what this kind of barbarism does to people, we are back here again. We have Jeff Sessions, the U.S. Attorney General, the man behind this policy, saying he's simply following Romans 13 in the Bible. Yes, the same one, the Holy Book, which enjoins readers to obey the laws of the land. I mean, again, it's without any irony that he doesn't seem to remember or care that this passage in the Bible was the very one used to justify slavery. I tweeted on Sunday, do you know the really sad part about what's happening in America right now? Some of the officials making the decisions to place children in detention centers likely did read Anne Frank. Just because we're in the same class doesn't mean we're learning the same things. Beware of leaders who demonize, who say to you that the real reason for your suffering is that group, that your lot in life is solely because of those people. Beware leaders who sell the politics of blame and division, who reduce complex issues to identity, to interests, to emotion, and to anger. One day, they may get what they want, and then we'll have no one but ourselves to blame. What's the old saying? Those who ignore history are doomed to repeat it.